Today on a Dr. Phil Classic, when people turn to bad habits.
Tell me what it is that is pushing you so hard that you're willing to go destroy your life financially.
It's like a feeling of power, and the way to use that power is to spend it.
What are you running from?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. We caught up with our guest almost 2 decades later. Today, we are setting the Wayback Machine and showing you some classic Dr. Phil shows from our first few seasons. I picked the episodes in this series because you, the viewers, have continued to tell me how the problems and solutions we discussed all those years ago are still so relevant in your lives today. Now, today's episode focuses on what happens when destructive patterns and dependencies completely take over your lives. Now, during this uncertain and often frightening time in history, more and more people's bad habits have turned into addictions. And when I say addictions, I'm not just talking about drugs and alcohol. For example, we'll meet Rob, a man who spent all his money frivolously. Tricia, a woman who buried herself in her job to avoid her real feelings, and Sylvia, who was medicating herself with junk food. Now, this is a show you're going to want to watch all the way to the very end because we caught up with our guest and we'll hear how they're doing almost 2 decades later. The show starts with Sylvia, who was absolutely consumed with a desperate need to eat candy, supersized fast foods, and donuts, all to avoid her stressful life. Now, let's sit back and watch this classic Dr. Phil episode together.
My name is Sylvia, and I'm a food junkie. Food's my drug of choice. Whenever I'm stressed out or upset, I reach for cake, cookies, chips, or anything salty. The other day, I ate 4 donuts before I even realized what I was doing. I ate a whole one, and then a half, and then a half, and then a half, and well, by the end of the day, it was 4. When I buy fast food, I always get the supersized. I just can't help it. It's a better deal, and I get more food. When I'm not eating, I'm thinking about eating. In case of an emergency, I keep food everywhere. In the car, in my purse, my nightstand. I just can't trust myself around food. I'm even thinking about taking up smoking, just so I can stop eating. Dr. Phil, I feel like it's getting out of control, and quite honestly, it scares me.
Now, do you agree that what you're doing is unnatural?
Yes.
I mean, you agree with that?
I know it. Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't something you think, well, you know, I just get hungry.
No, I'm not hungry.
You're saying it's more than that?
Yeah.
All right, so tell me why you think you do this.
Because it makes me feel better at that immediate moment. It's like a reward. I got through the stress, or I got through the task, or if I'm running around, if I'm nervous, okay, it's just a little this or a little that. And then at the end of the day, I realize how much it really is. And it scares me. I'm getting older. What's going to happen?
Have you tried to stop doing it?
I've scaled back, and I've got like the little candy bars instead of the big ones, and I did the little bag of chips instead of the big ones.
But you know, I figured out that 10 of those little candy bars is the same.
Exactly.
And did y'all notice that she breaks the donuts in pieces and eats them?
Yeah.
And what is up with, I think I'll start smoking so I can break this addiction?
Well, my girlfriend smokes and she's thin. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm that desperate. But then I know it's not. I know I can't do that. And I know I won't do that. But it's getting to that point where I'm just feeling so desperate.
Okay, but now wait a minute. That's not your most shining intellectual moment, okay?
No. Oh, I know that.
You say, okay,
yeah,
I'll stop eating and get cancer. You can really lose weight with cancer.
I know.
I mean, what do you think? You know better than that.
I know.
So can we cross that off the list of alternatives?
That's off. But when I actually got to the point where I was thinking about it, I knew I needed help. Okay. I knew I needed some tools to help me recognize what's happening to me and what can I do to replace it.
Okay, but you're not going to do that, right? No matter how desperate you get, no matter how big you get, you're not going to poison yourself with tobacco.
No.
Okay. Now, When we talk about addiction, what do you mean? I said, is there a pull to do this? Because I want y'all thinking about this in your life. I want you thinking about, is there something that you really are just pulled to, that if it was taken away from you, something would happen? Something would go, I mean, you'd start getting nervous, you'd start getting depressed, you'd start getting out of sync in your life. Has it got that powerful a pull on you?
It comforts me whenever it does. It's like I have
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, it has that powerful pull. Because see, an addiction can be something that you're either misusing or overusing. Either way, you can be like you can drink alcohol and not be addicted to it.
Sure.
But you can overuse it to the point that you get addicted to it. Are you overusing food to the point that you're addicted to it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And what happens if I take that away from you? So you couldn't get in your desk drawer and pull something out. You couldn't get in your glove compartment and pull something out. You couldn't get something out of your nightstand and pull something out. What would happen if you couldn't?
I think I'd just panic or break down in tears. I don't want to know sometimes. I'm scared. I think I know.
What are you afraid of?
What am I going? What would I replace it with? What do I do?
Well, no, but I mean, what are you afraid of that's making you need the food anyway? What's happening that you need it to begin with? Because I mean, I walk into my bedroom, I don't have to have a fix in the nightstand of some Oreos, but there are other things that I might do that I do have to have. But what is it that makes you know you're going to need that? What are you afraid of? What are you running from?
I guess my image, I think I can say I'm bigger because I do this and because I don't do that. So then I don't have to say, you know, I don't know, it's confusing to me too.
Yeah, well, we're going to think through that, okay? What I'm asking you is, you're using this to medicate yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
For what?
Comfort.
Okay, but why are you saying that you need that comfort so much? Let's get to the bottom of this. Why are you needing the food? What is it keeping you? Because let me tell you, when you're involved in something and you do it to an addiction level, to the point that you've got to have it and you're going to react if you don't, it's keeping you from dealing with something else. Why do you think people drink all the time? They drink to escape from some reality they don't want. You take drugs to escape from some reality you don't want. You work too much to escape from some reality you don't want. If something starts to build inside you, you anesthetize yourself with food. What is it you're pushing down with the food?
I guess just the fear of getting older and being middle-aged and...
The fear of getting older. It's not that bad. I mean, let me tell you. And it beats the alternative, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, what is the option? I mean, do you even ask yourself simple questions about something like that?
No.
What are you running from? Why are you using food to keep from thinking or feeling about something?
Well, I guess if I eat the food and I feel better, I don't have to think about how stressed I am or how much I need to do this or I need to be here or I have to do that. I can just give myself my little reward for my little moment. Okay,
so you're looking this far ahead.
Yes.
And saying, this gives me right now comfort.
Yes.
A right now fix.
Yes.
And I'll settle for that, even though the side effects are huge.
And that's what I'm beginning to realize. They're becoming so big and it's going to get so much harder. And I need to face it. I need to deal with it. I need to...
All right, and what is it? That's what I keep at. You said, I need to face it. I need to deal with it. And I want to know what that is.
I guess the anxiety of being a mom, about being a daughter, about being a wife, about being a friend, a sister. I'm pulled in many directions. And I sometimes don't have enough for everybody. And I kind of want to reprioritize my life.
So you don't have enough for everybody?
And sometimes I feel like I don't have enough for me.
And that scares you?
Yeah.
Because what happens if you reach for it and it's just not there?
Exactly.
And isn't that what you're really afraid of?
Yes.
Aren't you really afraid that you're one step ahead and
it's all going to catch up with me?
And it's just a masquerade? I'm not really in control. I'm not really a good mom. I'm not really a good wife. I'm not really a good person. And if I ever stop and deal with it and face the truth, it's going to pull me down.
I'll get lost.
So instead of think about it and face it,
I eat.
you eat
Makes me feel better.
at the time. But you don't look like you feel real good
I don't.
right now. You didn't look like you felt real good on the tape. You didn't feel real good when you said, I won't let you take my picture. I won't let you shoot inside my house.
I do
It's
want
kind of
people to
like,
see me.
I'm running this masquerade and you people are here with a camera. And were you afraid that we were going to see you, or were you afraid that you were going to see you?
That I'd see me.
Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to figure out how to stop running, because you're getting real tired, aren't you?
I am.
All right, we'll be right back. You're doing great. You're doing great. Sylvia says food is her drug of choice, and she wants to know how to stop giving in to its intoxicating hold. Now, we're talking about, and I get the feeling that you just said out loud for the first time what's really driving you here. How does it feel to have said that?
That I'm going to be okay. That it was okay to say it. And it's okay to recognize it. I'm not going to die from it.
Yeah. Because did you die from it?
No.
I mean, you're still here. No lightning bolt. No.
Lightning bolt.
Okay. Because, look, I just, a wise man once said that it's a life law that you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Okay? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
All right. You can't, if you don't acknowledge it, it's not going to go away on its own. It's not going to fix itself on its own. And what you've got to do is say, I'm tired of running. I am tired of running. Because you know that old saying, you can run, but you can't hide? And you know why? Because everywhere you run, everything you get behind to hide, you're back there with you. And doesn't that seem a little illogical? You're going to take you and run and hide from
Me.
you.
I
I mean, that's like, I used to play hide and seek when I was a kid. My mother used to say I'd close my eyes and I thought they couldn't see me. Okay, I just go hide and that's it. So I was fixed. That's kind of what you're doing, isn't it? It's like, it's the Scarlett O'Hara School of Management. I'll think about this tomorrow.
It's true.
Tomorrow's another day. Today, it's me and these donuts. Tomorrow, I'll fix all of that. Well, how's that working for you?
It's not.
At one level, it is working for you because it gives you the immediate release right then, but you're exactly right. It's not working for you at all because it just, you get a little fix for a minute, but you keep getting bigger, you keep getting less healthy, you keep feeling more guilty. And tell me about feeling guilty.
It's horrible. I know in my head, and I think, okay, it's just, I rationalize it away. I think to myself, well, if someone who's important and a celebrity and has all these resources still struggles, then why not me too? It's okay if I do because all these other people do. So I rationalize it away.
All right. And that's their life, and this is yours. Right. And if somebody wants to go out and run their life in a ditch, is that a reasonable justification for you doing it yourself?
Of course not. No.
Well, of course it's not. And what I want you to do is I don't want you to white knuckle this, you know, where you just say, all right, I'm going to change. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
What you've got to do is make a step that will seem real strange to you, because what I want you to do is make a decision that you are going to accept yourself. You're going to accept yourself fat, skinny, old, young, smart, dumb, productive, not productive, that you're going to say, you know what, I'm the only deal I have, and I'm going to stop trying to run away from me. I'm going to stop trying to medicate my life so I don't deal with it. I'm going to stop kicking myself and feeling guilty and ashamed because I don't weigh exactly what I want to weigh, because I don't have all the confidence I want. I'm willing to accept myself as I am, where I am, and I'm going to start working with me instead of running from me. How would that feel? And let me tell you, that is a life decision. That's not where you just sit there and say, I'm just going to wait for this wave of confidence to come over me. And it's just kind of like it just a wave in the ocean that washes over you. Not going to happen. It's a choice. People make choices because of different things. And you can choose, I'm gonna stop running from me. I'm going to start accepting me. And once you do that, you can begin to put together a different lifestyle. And we'll talk about, as the show goes on today, we're going to talk about how to change your lifestyle. But the number one thing for you is to decide, I'm going to accept who I am, warts and all, flaws and fallacies, everything, it's okay. I don't have to be perfect. I'm going to accept who I am, and I'm going to start working with me instead of running from me. Are you willing to do that?
Yes.
And you're going to keep both your ears open for the rest of the show, because I'm going to talk about how to set up alternative lifestyles.
Yes.
All right? Coming up, a man who says he's thrown away thousands, and I'm suspecting thousands and thousands of dollars, on his addiction, his high, which is not eating, it's spending money.
I often say that if I were addicted to drugs or gambling like I am to spending money, I would be dead.
If you let it, anything can become an addiction. Gambling, video games, the internet, too much TV. Well, you can watch every day when I'm on. So you don't want to fix that one right now. Some people get a high from the sound of a cash register or the sight of a shopping mall. Rod is so addicted to spending money that he's afraid he's going to end up in jail for writing bad checks. Take a look.
I've been addicted to spending money for about 10 years. I get paid, and there's like a rush feeling. It's like a high. I spend. Then within a week to 10 days, it's gone. Half the time, I can't tell you what I spend it on. I just spend clothes, shoes, CDs, entertainment things, DVDs, cologne. I go out to eat to restaurants. Sometimes I go out of town, go on trips. And because of this addiction, my phone is cut off. I have to go to my folks or use a payphone.
Yes, a collect call from Rod. Hey, Mom.
Over the past 10 years, I must have borrowed $5, $7, maybe even $10,000 from friends and family. Dr. Phil, please help me help myself. I don't want to go on like this anymore. I can't.
Okay. Now, how old are you?
38.
38. You're a grown man.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're out doing something that you know is self-destructive. Okay, what have you learned so far from the show today?
I was listening to what you said before about choices that you make, and also about, well, running from yourself. A lot of that was speaking to me.
So you heard what we talked about, but what did you learn from it? I mean, what's going on with you? Because you understand that what I'm saying when I'm saying an addiction, I mean something that you know is not what you want to do. And intellectually, you know, this is dumb. I don't want to be out spending this money. I'm going to be broke by Thursday, and I got the rest of the month to get by, right?
Yes.
And you know that when you're doing it, right? And do you have an inability to learn, or are you just ignoring it?
No,
So you have the ability to learn, right?
Very much so.
So you look at it and say, okay, last month I was broke by the 3rd.
Right.
The month before I was broke by the 6th.
Yeah.
I wrote some bad checks, and I've actually been arrested for that, right? They've come and got you and drug you down to the jailhouse for writing checks. So you know that's not good, but yet you continue to do it month after month. Tell me what it is that is pushing you so hard, so much from inside, that you're willing to go destroy your life financially, socially, and emotionally to keep from dealing with whatever it is that's coming from the inside.
I think with me is the feeling that I get from having money in my pocket when I get a paycheck, it's like a feeling of power. Like I feel like I can do anything, and the way to use that power is to spend it. It makes me feel good to spend money on others, to spend money on me. At the time, there's like an excitement about going someplace and buying something, knowing that I don't need it. Sometimes I end up having to return things. That's a good question. What is it about me that makes me want to do that?
Well, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Now, answer that good question. That's what I'm trying to get to. Listen, what have you ever considered the high that you're cheating yourself out of by having control in your life? Have you ever thought about how it would feel walking down the street, having money in your pocket, money in your bank, peace in your heart, and not having to buy your friends' love by spending money on them? How would it feel if you just walked into a room and did not have to earn your right to be there, did not have to make people care about you by spending money on them? You could just walk in, they just say, hey, sit down.
I do dream about that. I think about it all the time. There is something in me that feels like I need to, I hate to say it, buy their love or their friendship, but given validates who they are with me, it's something I can.
What is it that you think about yourself that makes you believe you have to pay people to be your friend? What is it about yourself that makes you think you've got to go somewhere exotic in order to be happy?
Right.
What's wrong with you just hanging out?
Sometimes I think I don't feel, I don't know where that comes from, not feeling worthy or not being enough, just being me.
You were in counseling for 2 years. Did nobody ever ask you these hard questions?
Yeah, and she was great. And in counseling, the last one especially, it was better. And
Did you pay her?
No. No.
You didn't pay her?
No. It was.
Okay.
She did it pro bono.
So you got what you paid for, maybe?
No, she was great.
No, I don't mean her.
Right.
I mean you.
Okay.
Using the information.
Right.
All right, we're going to hear what Rod's best friend has to say about his addiction and what she's done to help him do it when we come back. You're doing great. Thank you. You're doing great. I want to stay with this. I'm going to... People can be addicted to all sorts of things. The most common are alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, but Rod is addicted to spending money. His best friend, Ifia, is in our audience, and you've watched this happen, right?
Yes.
And what do you do to enable him?
I have loaned him money in the past.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, he pays you back, right?
Yeah.
Do you make him pay you back? So what do you say to him when it's time to pay you back?
Well, I let him pay me back when he could. It only happened a couple times.
Yeah. So do you tell him the truth?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah?
You know whether you tell him the truth or not. Either you do or you don't.
I think I do.
Yeah. So, because let me tell you, a friend will tell you the truth. A true friend will tell you the truth. I mean, it'd be a lot easier for me to sit up here and say, oh, hey, listen, you know, just make a little more money. It'll work out. But the truth is, that's got nothing to do with it. This isn't about the money. It's about you. You medicate yourself with these short-term fantasy highs of spending things. Then you run from the guilt and irresponsibility, which is just so busy. You got so much going on, you don't ever get real about what's really happening. And all I'm saying is, when do you get a turn? When do you get to go to your own priority list and say, I'm going to talk to me about me. I'm going to be honest with myself about me for once in my life?
I never do it. This is the first step.
Yeah, I mean, being here is a start. But the truth is that you've got to admit and acknowledge that you don't have the confidence to just present yourself on an even-up basis to the world. You've either got to create a fantasy by spending money you don't have, or doing things for your friends so they're indebted to you and like you and appreciate you for what you did for them, what you bought for them, what you gave to them, instead of who you are. And how will you ever know if you can stand on your own right without this crutch addiction if you aren't willing to just step out there and do it and see what happens? How will you ever know if you're not willing to do that?
I won't.
So what do you have to do?
Well, I have to examine me and talk to me, spend some time with me. I don't ever do that.
Well, you're too busy running.
Right.
You're too busy running. I mean, that's the problem, is you keep it so busy.
Yes.
Because I don't know what you're going to find out, but I know this, that every person has in their life a series of defining moments that cause them to be who they are. You know, maybe your dad was some big rousing success and you're trying to keep up with him. Maybe you feel like, hey, I'm just not very smart, so why would anybody want to be with me or talk to me? Maybe you feel like I'm overweight, so, you know, I've got to spend a lot of money on clothes and entertainment because the world wouldn't just come to just some fat kid here. I don't know what your internal dialogue is, but I'm telling you, unless and until you acknowledge that, there isn't any point in me putting a behavioral patch on you. I can just say, okay, send me your paycheck every month and I'm going to send you just what you have to have. That's not going to fix the problem. The problem's got to be fixed from the inside out. Addictions serve a purpose. Addictions serve a need. They don't meet the need, they just serve the need. They just hold it off, they just push it down. And you got to find the courage to determine what that is. And if you were going to give me the 3 things that you think have you running from that right now, what are you running from? The 3 things that you're using your addiction to avoid getting real about, what are they?
My weight is a big issue with me. I feel worthless a lot. Like I don't matter sometimes. And where am I running from? I'm thinking.
It's all right, take your time,
yeah.
It's okay.
Another weight's an issue. I know how I don't feel like I am worth some things just by being me sometimes.
Tell me what you're proud of.
I'm proud of my job as a teacher. I love what I do for a living. I think I do something with the young people that I learn from and that I get to see every day. I'm very proud of that. I know I'm a good listener. I'm proud of my family and being a part of a unit that that has been great. I think supportive, maybe to a fault.
Okay, you told me what you're proud that you do.
Yes.
You told me what you're proud that you belong to.
Yeah.
Now tell me what you're proud of about you. You personally as an individual.
I think that I'm proud of. Look at that.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow. Okay.
A little harder question?
Yeah.
What difference do you think it'd make if you had an answer to that question?
Yeah. Be a big difference.
You want me to give you a start?
Sure.
Take all the help you can get right now. Don't you?
Bring it.
What if you decided to take some pride in the fact that you're loving,
Yeah.
and you're giving, and you're caring, as just a spirit in this world. When you said you were proud of your job and those kids, for the first time since you walked up here, your eyes sparkled. Just for a second.
Excuse me.
Your eyes sparkled. What if you decided that what mattered is who you are in here instead of what mask you wear out there, and decided, you know what, I'm a loving and caring and giving person, and I am proud of that because that means I'm contributing to this world. How would that feel?
That would feel great.
She's all work and no play. Meet a woman addicted to being on the clock.
I feel that I'm completely consumed with work. It really is all I think about.
We're talking about addictions today, things that just pull you into doing things that you don't want to do and just take over your life. Tricia says she's a workaholic and has no life outside the office.
I feel that I'm completely consumed with work. I work up to 80 hours a week, Monday through Saturday, and sometimes I even work on Sundays. I'll sit at my desk and people will be walking by going, "What are you doing here? Go home." And I'm afraid I'm going to miss out if I'm not there. It really is all I think about. And the more successful I am, the more successful I want to be, the more I concentrate only on working and nothing else. And I know that I'm young, but I feel tired. I get up, I go to work, and blink my eyes, the day's over, do it again, do it again, do it again. I love work, but that's not always going to be there for me. I still have something missing inside of me. Dr. Phil, help me to find balance in my life so I can enjoy the life that I have ahead of me.
All right, we're going to go to break before I talk to you, and when we come back, the first question I've got for you is what you've learned so far today. We'll be right back. All right, Tricia says she wants to get a life outside of the office, but is she willing to do what it takes? So what have you learned so far?
I think I've learned, number one, that I definitely have something in common with every single person that has been on this stage so far.
Yeah.
And one thing that, you know, I think back to as long as I can remember, one of the things I always felt like I was not normal. I didn't fit in, but I'll say today I feel like I do with everybody that's been up on the stage.
Yeah, well, that's not the best group to be a member of, okay? All right. But look, I mean, don't you realize that people make choices? We all make choices in our lives, where we work, what we do, who we see, what we say. Your choices are driven by something. We don't just make choices at random. They're driven by something. They're driven sometimes by survival. Sometimes they're driven because we want to evolve. And you've made the choice to just be consumed with your job. What do you think is the driver behind that choice?
Success.
Success. All right, so you're choosing to be successful in your job. Okay, but how do you define success? How much money you have? How much promotion you get? How do you define it?
Well, I kind of have a history of, I guess we should say, addictions. I mean, your first life law is either get it or you don't. For me, for some reason, it's I either do it or I don't. I mean, I've been addicted to food. When I do something, I do it, and
that means you've been running all your life. And I'm just asking you, don't y'all come in with a curiosity of what it is you're running from?
Absolutely.
And you say you do it because you want to be successful. How do you define success? I mean, right now you're obviously defining it as how you do on your job, right?
Yes.
So you want to stack cash and achievement. You want to make money and get achievement, and
Right.
acknowledgement for achievement, right?
And it's changed as I go throughout my life. Like, it used to be, oh, if I'm thin, then I'm worthy.
Sure.
If I have a nice car, then I'm worthy. And now it's, you know, I work and I work hard, and people reward me for that. So it's the first thing that I've ever been rewarded for.
Okay, and that's not a bad thing to a degree, but what about, that's your financial currency, that's your acknowledgement currency, but what about emotional currency? What about social currency? What about the fact that you're, if you look at those categories, how's your love life?
I don't have
How's
one.
your social life? I mean, all of those things, it's just like zero balance, zero balance, zero balance, zero balance, work, big balance. Okay, average all of those out, and what do you have? I mean,
Work.
Because I went to school, and I know that if you get like 100 and then 5 zeros,
Yeah,
and then you add those up and divide them by 6, that's an F, okay? That's an F, okay? So you get an A at work, and the rest of your life is like nothing. So don't you need to expand your definition of success?
Definitely.
But isn't it easy if you're busy at work that gives you an excuse that you don't have a date?
Absolutely. It numbs me. I mean, I focus in on my work. I don't have to worry about the fact that, you know, maybe I don't have a date, or that I am feeling lonely or sad, or it numbs me for any other life events that can happen to me. You know, losing a loved one, having friends move away. I don't have to worry about that because I'm not connecting with people as much because it withdraws me.
But look, this is no dress rehearsal, man. I mean, pretty soon you're going to look up and say, whoa, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turned into years, and I got old. You got to give yourself a chance to get out there and get in the game. Will you consider that seriously?
I do consider that, and I mean, with my job though, I rationalize it that I'm with people constantly. I mean, I'm in customer service and sales, so I'm seeing people all the time, so that's being social, and I do go out with friends, not as much because I'm tired now, but...
I got one question for you. How's that working for you? How is that working for you? Do you have what you want? Do you have what you want? Either you do or you don't.
Not all of it.
And so do you want to settle for not all of it?
No, I don't want to settle anymore.
Okay. We'll be right back. I'm going to follow you. You just finished watching a Dr. Phil classic episode from our very first season, which featured an overspender, an overworker, and an overeater. The guests in today's show made action plans to better themselves, so I wanted to check in on them to see how they're doing all these years later. Now, first, we caught up with Tricia, who says she now has a far healthier balance between her work and social life. She says 18 years later, she still regularly thinks about the show, specifically when I said to her, "What does success mean to you?"
Hi, Dr. Phil. Being on the show all those years ago was a defining moment in my life because you have a way of clarifying things that make sense to me.
How do you define success? How much money you have? How much promotion you get?
I was completely caught off guard when you asked me how I define success. It was a surprisingly difficult question for me to answer.
I mean, right now you're obviously defining it as how you do on your job, right?
Yes.
So you want to stack cash and achievement.
Essentially, my definition of success revolved around workplace achievement, make a lot of money, be admired a great deal. But you changed that. I look at success differently now. It's still important for me to do well professionally. However, success is now more defined by closer connections with those I love, creating life and career balance. Thank you, Dr. Phil, for helping me learn that success is an inside job and what I make it to be.
Trish, I have to say, that is just so great to hear. We also caught up with our first guest, Sylvia. She said that I helped her to realize her junk food addiction was only temporarily relieving her stress and wasn't a true solution. She says after leaving the stage, she replaced candy bars and pastries with fruits, nuts, and vegetables. 18 years later, she says she still maintains her active and healthy lifestyle. So way to go, Sylvia. I want to hear all of your thoughts on today's show and all the positive changes you're making in your own lives. It's good to talk about success sometimes, and it's good to practice your strengths. Don't always just focus on your weaknesses. Log on to drphil.com and make sure to follow me and comment on all my social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and believe it or not, I'm on TikTok. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.